Town Hall ABC7. Do you hear me? This is a discussion about race. We have been bringing you all kinds of topics associated with the COVID-19 pandemic, bring you community leaders, activists, academic professionals, all kinds of people talk about the impact of this pandemic on our communities. We've been talking about some all kinds of ideas of where we go from here, what we're doing now, how do we deal with all this? Just regular conversations with good people who can share some insights. And so today we're going to talk about, because we're officially, whether you believe it or not, we are into summer. This is July, and this is when Chicago really comes alive. We are defined by our summer and defined by our summer events and our summer festivals. It's not going to be that way this year, so we're going to figure out how we're going to do this and what it's going to look like and what our people have been doing to try to make it still fun and enjoyable and exciting for us here in Chicago, because we live for our summers. Got some good people to talk to you about this. I want to introduce them very quickly too. They've got some long, impressive resumes, so I'll show them just a little bit, some of our leaders today. We have, first of all, Mr. Alan King, who is known as lawyer by day, DJ by night. He's a partner in the law firm of Fagery, Drinker, Beidel, and Reef. I hope I got that right. I'm close to it, right?
Close enough, sir.
He's also, more importantly to me, he's a world-renowned DJ, house music aficionado, one of the early members of the legendary Chicago-based DJ crew, the Chosen Few DJs. That's Alan and Wayne Williams, Jesse Sanders, Tony and Andre Hatchett, Terry Hunter, and Mike Dunn. They're pioneers in the creation of Chicago house music, and they produce one of the largest house music festivals in the world. That is the Chosen Few Picnic and Festival, one of the co-founders of the Chosen Few Picnic. We'll get more about that just a little bit later. Welcome, Alan. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good to see you.
Do we have Patrick? Patrick is with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, Patrick. Good to see you, sir. Once again.
Okay, good to see you.
He's the founder and creative director. Let me go back down here. He is the African International House USA, executive producer of the African Festival of the Arts, now in his 26th year. It draws more than 200,000 attendees from across the globe to Chicago for a 4-day celebration of the African diaspora. He's born in Liberia. He has held several leadership positions there, and since becoming a prominent Chicago business leader, he's developed so many programs, even today impacting public investment and Illinois transportation. His commitment to the arts and culture and African heritage and tourism spanned decades, and he founded and served as executive producer for the first African Festival of the Arts in Chicago back in 1995. Patrick, welcome to you, sir.
Thank you. Grandpa.
We have, you probably may hear my dogs. We at home now, folks. Eric Williams. Eric Williams, who is the founder and executive creative director of the Silver Room, innovative retail, arts, and community event space, opened in 1997. Silver Room intersects the worlds of fashion, music, and visual art. He operates as a boutique, a gallery, and community arts center. He holds a degree in finance from the University of Illinois, Chicago. He founded the Silver Room Block Party. It's a big one in 2004, 16th year. It attracts 40,000 people. He also co-founded Grown Folk Stories. That's a monthly storytelling series. We are so happy to have you with us, Eric. Thank you, sir.
Hey, thank you. Thank you.
And we also welcome Darcel Norwood Ball, who is an entrepreneur from the Chicagoland area. And in March of 2019, she, along with fellow entrepreneurs and business partner Michael Brown, owner of 21 Souls Entertainment, joined forces to birth the Naperville Soul Fest. That is an organization that promotes cultural awareness within the western suburbs, provides a platform for small minority businesses to gain exposure and untapped market, and advocate for inclusion of minority groups where they are not represented. They are supposed to have a big festival. This was their inaugural festival this year. It is not to be, Darcel. Good to see you.
Thank you.
So what I want to do is just go around the horn and let everybody tell a little bit about their intentions, what the event was supposed to be, and the importance to the community. Darcel, since you're here, why don't we talk about what you really hope to accomplish with this Soul Fest?
Well, with the Soul Fest, as you read off from the bio, it was a opportunity to bring exposure for minorities to the west suburbs. My partner and myself, we actually did quite a bit of research and found that there was a need. So we had to get creative as to how to provide the exposure. And so we came up with the outdoor festival. And
Uh-huh.
so we had to find a location that would be centrally located, but yet for a historical event of that type. So we ended up in Naperville. So we actually target Aurora, Bolingbrook, as well as Naperville. So our target is the west suburbs. The event was supposed to have headliners. Of course, we were going to have the vendors available, information booth for exposure for different political parties as well. And so it was going to be very informative as well as a good time, as most festivals are.
And it was going to be historic as well.
Yeah, it's the very first of its type. We received quite a bit of support from the mayor of Naperville, as well as just the local businesses, because the Naples settlement is actually centrally located in the nucleus in the middle of Naperville. And so we received quite a few sponsors and just being supportive for this event of this type. We were looking forward to, you know, how you plan initially. Oh, 1,000, we would be okay. But it turns out it was going to be well more than 3 to 4,000, and we were very pleased with that number. But as you all know, forced cancellation. It's delayed, but not canceled. And so we are looking forward to next year. We are slated, same place, same time, the first weekend of June of 2021.
Well, that's great. We look forward to. I like what you said. Delayed, not canceled. That's what we're
Yeah,
doing with all our festivals.
Absolutely.
Let's go
right.
to Alan now. You know, people travel from all over the world for Chosen Few. I know people that book rooms in advance, thinking that it may be over, may be able to slide it through. So
Right.
give us a little bit of the background of this, which started off just a little small gathering, and that was huge.
Yeah, I mean, we started in 1990 just with a little picnic, literally a picnic behind the Museum of Science and Industry, and the idea was to kind of relive the early house music days that we had been a part of in the late 70s and early 80s. So we went out in the park, and we did play music, but it was kind of a backdrop, and we're playing softball and throwing the football around, and we probably had 50 people, 40 or 50 people that first year. And, we had no plans about even doing it again once, but it continued to grow and became popular and more popular. And, this year would have been our 30th anniversary. And we'll talk about the virtual picnic we're doing. But so fast forward to 30 years later, and it's just been an unbelievable phenomenon how the event has grown. And we now get, some 40 to 45,000 people out of a little event that started with 40 people, house music lovers and others, really from around the country and around the world. And our little picnic has grown up into what we like to call a world-class music festival, and we're very proud of that.
With those coveted VIP tents and booths. It's a booth hopping kind of thing, too. That's real good. Now let's move to Patrick. The African Festival of the Arts is really a wonderful event, a wonderful celebration. Tell us how that came about here in the Chicagoland area.
Right. Thank you, Jose. Thank you for being on the panel with all these powerful people who are doing positive things to bring Black people together. And that's how the festival started. I had a shop in Harpercourt called Window to Africa, and that shop was like a meeting ground for all the cultural activists in Chicago. And then artists started coming around trying to show their work, and there was no place to show it. Many of the local events, like the 57th Street Art Fair, did not invite Black artists. So we started doing something. We did a yard sale with artists, and that went very well. We did a fashion show. And so it became a festival that is today. This year was to be the 31st anniversary. And we are not canceling. We're going to go virtual like Chosen Few. We're working hard to make sure we connect the African world to Chicago.
This is a very, very important celebration, too, a connection of diaspora.
I should be transparent to say that everybody in this panel should call Hosea Baba Sanders, because he was honored as a Grand Baba 2 years ago or last year. I forget. But he's a Grand Baba.
I got
He's got his.
So from now on, everybody should call him Grand Baba Hosea Sanders.
Y'all got to call me that from the rest of this call. Call me Grand Baba, okay? Because I got my certification. I got my award right here. I'm real proud of that. Thank you so much, Patrick. Thank you for that, and thank you for being with us. Let's talk about the Silver Room. Eric, man, this started off kind of small too, didn't it?
Yeah. I talked to Alan a lot about this, and we kind of mirrored him in a lot of ways, but it's very similar. I mean, was it meant to be anything more than just a little party? The first two we did were actually in an alley next to the store. Used to be in Wicker Park, and it was 100, 200, 300 people. Just people just came by. It was super informal. We didn't have a real stage. We had stage on cinder blocks. Our electrical actually lived above the old store, so I ran a cord from my house. That was the power. There was no porta potties. People just come to your house. Hey, can you use the bathroom? All right, just super informal. And then the same thing. Okay, just do it one time. That was it. Everyone was like, do it again next week. I'm like, no, Then it went to next month. I'm like, no. Then it was like, okay, next year. I'm like, okay, we'll do it next year. And then next year it was maybe 400 or 500 people. And then it just kept growing. And then we actually stopped it one year when I moved my store from Wicker Park down to Hyde Park. And then the next year we did it in Hyde Park is when it really, really grew. I mean, it really blew up. A lot of people didn't actually know it who on the South Side. And then we came out here and just grown. We've done 4 or 5 in Hyde Park, and it's gotten kind of out of hand. But,
in a good way. In a good way. People love that and look forward to it. And, the good thing about these festivals we're talking about is that they're always a celebration. It's like a family reunion. No violence ever occurs. Everybody's getting along and just celebrating each other and celebrating love, and which is going to be sorely missed this go around. So let's start with you. What are you going to do? How are you going to pivot and do something different?
Well, I have a retail store, so that's first and foremost, and everything that I do is kind of stems from that. So we've been closed for the last 3.5 months. Said we just reopened this past Saturday. So right now, honestly, my focus is on getting the store back up and running. So I'm okay taking a break this year, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm gonna be watching Alan on Saturday. I watch everybody else, but I can lay back this year and focus on next year. So that's where I'm at right now. So I'm just
chill this year.
It's like a blessing in some ways. So
I got you. It's a chill year, regrouping.
Exactly.
Alan, what you gonna do though? How are you gonna make this huge celebration, which is a world-class event? How do you make this digital? How do you bring this online?
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge, and we were really looking forward to this summer. Was going to be our 30th anniversary, and we were going to kind of pull out all the stops to be in Jackson Park again. And obviously, we weren't able to do that with the COVID situation. And we've been blessed with the success and the passion that people have around our event. So we knew we had to do something. As people really look forward to it every year, and it won't be the same. But we decided that we do this virtual event, and it's going to be this Saturday from 12 noon to 9 p.m. Folks can tune in at our website, chosenfewdjs.com. But it's been a different process, but an interesting process to try to put together a live stream version of the Chosen Few picnic. And we, as we always do, we've got some surprises in store. And frankly, it's not just going to be like a DJ standing up there DJing and that's all you see. So we're building in a number of concepts that will hopefully recreate to the extent that we can the experience that we have outdoors in Jackson Park. So we're really encouraging people to in the spirit of the Chosen Few picnic, go out in your backyard, go on the deck. If you got a rooftop, go up there, whatever you want to do, but fire up the barbecue grill and do what you normally do with 40,000 of your closest friends in Jackson Park, and we'll deliver the music and the entertainment. And again, the funny thing is, I think we have a chance of probably reaching a lot more than the 40,000 people that normally come, because obviously there'll be a worldwide audience. And we keep hearing from people all around the world who like, God, we've heard about this event forever, and we never thought we could come. And now there's an opportunity in some respect for them to tune in virtually. So we're really excited about it.
Well, you say it's not, I know you're going to put some production in it and these surprise elements you mentioned, but I've seen like when people doing Facebook Live and whatever in the past, I could just watch you DJ all the time. And that's entertaining in itself, especially when you take your camera and turn it around at the folks who are at the jamming. It's really entertaining. So I look forward to that. So this is this Saturday that you're going to do the virtual.
Yep, Saturday. So all 7 of the chosen few DJs, and then we've got a couple of live performers. Byron Stingley is a legend of house music, and Carla Prather, another vocalist. And interestingly, actor and comedian, and now he can add DJ to his title, Dion Cole from the show Blackish and other pursuits. So Dion has really created a bit of a sensation online during the pandemic, where he's not really a DJ and hasn't played music for people before, but he does a Instagram live show every Sunday, and he really loves house music and disco music, and it's really caught on, and he's used his bigger platform to kind of spread our music and our culture, and we thought it was perfectly fitting, particularly since he's a Chicago guy, to have him part of our event this year.
So I wonder if you're going to play some of his Old Spice commercials.
Right, exactly.
You cannot miss those Old Spice commercials. That's really good. I look forward to that as well. That's going to be a lot of fun. Patrick, how are we going to do the Festival of the Arts? How are we going to do this year?
Well, we, unlike some of the other people, we were kind of forced to carry on. That is, for 31 years, we go home and help Black people create businesses, create a foundation for their families, and add more stories where vendors at the festival have sent kids to Ivy League school. Like one kid went to Yale, he came back now, he's working with Tiesta Gates and University of Chicago. So it's difficult not to help these people in this really bad time. So we said, let's do something to help them. And the easiest thing is to put them online. The festival this year is going to be the same weekend. We have vendors online. We have activities going on. Some of the elements we have, like the African spirituality. We have most of things we do at the festival, but hopefully we're going to connect with the African diaspora. We have the people in Africa, in the Caribbean, in South America, and most of them are excited. I heard from Baba Salif Keita, who said, yeah, I would like to help. I don't know how many of you know that name, but he's one of the most famous African musicians living today. So, yeah, we're going to bring it to Chicago. We're going to connect the African world to Chicago, and hopefully this will be an ongoing part of the African Festival Arts, because like Byron said, it's going to be connected to the whole world. We'll be able to, people from other parts of the universe will be able to see Black talent from not just Chicago, but from around the African world. And you'll be able to shop and buy like you normally do at the African Festival.
Because we know that is a big part of it, the whole thing. We look forward to all the artwork and all the vendors and the back and forth dealing with each other. So I guess you could probably showcase even more of the products online than you could, and get a bigger audience, like you said, get a bigger audience worldwide.
Well, this year is going to be an experimental year for us because it's the first time we are doing this, and we'll showcase as much as we can. We may select a few successful vendors who know the technology, can plug in, can do all the things like Facebook Live or other kinds of stuff that can connect directly with the audience and so that they engage people directly and make it more exciting than just putting products online and trying to sell them.
Gotcha. So this could be a blessing in disguise, whether we know it or not. Darcel, I'm curious, Darcel. Now, a big part of all of our festivals is the food.
Yes.
So we're gonna miss all our food. I know you had it planned to be laid out in Naperville. So how I know we can't do that, but what will we have with this Soul Fest?
Well, as far as the remainder of this year, is more about working on the brand recognition within the communities of the West Suburbs. So we are planning some virtual events, mainly just to bring the community together. So we will be discussing different type of concerns of the community members. And then also, as far as the festival goes, as we will continue to solicit additional cultural restaurants and entertainment, more minority based businesses. So we'll continue to work on that effort. But mainly, we will be having a series of virtual events. Comedy show. We actually had a comedy show scheduled in March. That was canceled. That was just as a way to welcome us to the Naperville community by bringing out smaller scale events. And so just to expose the community to the Naperville brand.
Mhm.
So that may now become virtual. So that is to come soon. We are going to have a series of different discussions as like today, this platform, something similar.
I'm just wondering, everybody, how everybody's feeling right now. We've been in this thing now for 3 months, and we've had to change everything and change our way of life. We joked about the new normal. How are you feeling, Marcel, right now?
Um, Well, as an entrepreneur, your wheels are always turning. So
Mm-hmm.
you always think about ways to make things better, ways to improve the process. So I am utilizing this downtime to actually do that. So disappointed. This was the first year, and so again, it's just delayed, and so it put me on edge a little bit. But now, with the support of my partner, Michael A. Brown, he's a entrepreneur who has been in the west suburbs for well over 20 years, so he's used to it. So this is a new territory for myself, and so so we balance each other in that way. And so I am taking time out to really come to reality of what we're faced against, but also just mainly looking at the reason and why it's necessary to have this event now, even more than what we originally wanted it to be. And so now it's to bring awareness and to have a voice in these underserved communities where we do not necessarily have a voice as minorities.
That's a really good point too. Underserved, bringing awareness more, just bringing people together, which is what all these
Yeah.
things. Mhm.
Yes, indeed.
You talk about taking a break, catching your breath, Eric. So how you just got your store back open? How's things going right now? How are you coping? Are you back running the way? I know probably not the way you want to, but are you feeling optimistic?
Sorry. I'm feeling optimistic. I feel relieved in a lot of ways because I mean, people don't understand how much work that goes into these events. People just have no
Mhm.
idea. They see it, they think, oh, we started this a month ago or 2 months ago. It's a year long process, and dealing with so many people and trying to raise money, dealing with vendors and then the city and logistics and partners. This is a lot of work. So if I'm honest, I'm actually really relieved that I have an actual year to really focus on next year, And then, like I say, just, we live in Chicago for these festivals, you know what I mean? And
Great.
not just, I love going to festivals. I go to Chosen Few, I go to African Fest, but the ones on the north side too, the Wells Street Art Fest and the Roscoe Village. I mean, I go to all of them. So I think the fact that that's not happening this year is making us rethink how we're going to celebrate this summer. Even just watching how people are like enjoying themselves and seeing Hyde Park kind of come alive in a way that I haven't seen in a long time. And people hang on the corners. That's their festival right now. They're in their cars, turning music up in their car, just hanging out like we used to do back in the day.
Right.
So I actually kind of, I'm kind of enjoying how people are being resilient and just kind of still thinking about music and coming together 6 feet apart or not. But we don't. It's a year of no festivals, and what does that look like? So from afar, I'm kind of enjoying. People thinking about their health, people riding bikes. You
Right.
can't ride a bike anywhere right now.
True.
So I don't know. I'm just kind of like getting out of the festival mindset for this year and just kind of really observing. So
Because as we all know, that's what makes living in Chicago worth it. We suffer through the winters to get to the
exactly.
festival season. But I got to ask this question too, and I'm not really sure how these things work. Alan, will you take a financial hit with this thing? I know it costs a lot to put together, but is there some monetary involved?
Yeah, we will take a hit. In light of everything going on in the world with the COVID situation and other strife that we can possibly get into a little bit later. But we made a conscious decision not to charge anything at all for this virtual event. And we thought about something minimal of $1 or $5, and we decided people have enough to deal with. We are accepting donations should anyone be so inclined, and we'll use some of that to cover some of our production costs, but we're going to use the bulk of that to donate to some appropriate charities that we want to invest in. So on the one hand, the production costs obviously are way down from what it takes to put 40,000 people in Jackson Park. But at the same time, there are still production costs. I mean, we're paying our artists. We're not asking anybody to do a freebie for us. So there are production costs still, and much more limited revenue, obviously. So we'll probably at the end of the day take a hit this year, and that's fine with us. I mean, we fortunately can absorb somewhat of a hit, and I just think with everything going on in the world right now, like one of the blessings over the last few months has been music, and it's been DJs and artists and singers who have sort of done what we can to kind of heal the world virtually, at least. So we didn't have a second thought about we got to figure out a way to at least deliver some variation of this event on 4th of July weekend.
We've been through so much strife, and in addition to the pandemic, we've got the unrest. And
absolutely,
the music is a good part of the healing process. Will that be integrated, those messages, those uplifting kind of messages that we really do need now? I would imagine that's going to be all about it.
Yeah, for sure. That's going to be part of the presentation, and more importantly, we haven't identified the charity specifically yet, but it's certainly going to be in part something that relates to the whole racial justice issue and what's going on in the world in terms of the uprising, I would say, finally, against some of the things that we as African Americans have dealt with, frankly, in this country for the last 400 years. So we want to be a positive contributor to those efforts, and we'll use our platform, at least in part, to do that.
I want to ask everybody that same kind of question in light of what we've been going through right now. As you say, some people call it enlightenment right now, as opposed to an uprising or an unrest. Sure. How are we feeling? So how are we feeling right now in terms of getting a message out, the message of inclusion, the message of coming together and building something better and going from here?
Well, that is the purpose of the Soul Fest. So now, as I stated before, it is a even more higher on my list of things to do. So I use different platforms. This is just something that I normally do as a community conscious leader. I am also president of a pretty large graduate chapter of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated as well. So I'm always out there in the community. And so this just gonna make it a platform that is going to be more acceptable now. Now people will be more open to the different ways we bring the awareness. And so as I even think about now, there are still some protesting going on in Naperville, for example. How will we bridge the gap between the old Naperville and now what we could call now the new Naperville? And so how to do it safely as well. So those are some of the things that as a organization we would like to address, and getting the support of the political councilmen there, because we have their ear. So this is a great time to bring some of those concerns on the forefront and see how we could actually get involved beyond just the festival. What can we do to help that community?
I love what you said about it's more of a learning than just entertainment this time around. Now we've got a chance.
Yes, indeed.
I got a shout out. I love my Zeta sisters, so good for that. You got to say that. So Patrick, we're talking about learning. I want to go back to Patrick real quickly. You had a good point about we want to tie all these various communities, all these various even countries together, and we can do it even more so by doing it online, Patrick.
Yeah, that's been part of our mission from the very beginning to bring the African diaspora together. And most of it has been done through the culture and, of course, the economics that we bring all these vendors to start to showcase the Black aesthetics, the products, and all of that. But now that people that we're going to be online will be able to show more than that. We'll be able to connect to African countries and maybe show what's going on in some parts of Africa or Caribbean or like South America. We'll be able to learn more about one another other than just meeting once a year in a park, almost like a reunion. But now you can be more connected. And when you are connected, you either sustain that connectivity or you move to a higher level of being connected. So I think this is a great time to be excited about the future with all that's going on. That almost everybody in the world is aware of the Black issues and the Black condition in America. And the movement that came together, I believe more people are willing to help and be part of making the future brighter and better. And that's what we'll be striving for. The festival will be trying to bring Africa and the Black diaspora together to look for a better future.
I like that. A higher level. That's what we're all aiming for. I know that's right. I want to switch right back to Eric real quick. I want to ask you really, how's your store doing? How is everything going?
We opened up on Saturday and it was a line. I mean, it was just nonstop. Actually, every day. It's busy right now. So people missed us. That is good. They keep asking about the block party for sure, but that's like a nonstop, constant answer. But no, it's been good. The vibe in Hyde Park is great, honestly. And I think because of the pandemic and because of the uprising, I feel like a sense of things are kind of settling down in a way, but I think people feel kind of positive, like something is happening, from the statues coming down to some policy changes to issues with the police. I feel as though people think things are actually happening, and it's just a good sense, and I was even thinking about the need for these festivals, especially with house music, and music as a form of activism, and dance as a form of protest, I know that that's something that's needed. So I understand why people are looking for that, and certain songs, and Alan, we know certain songs that we will play that people would just feel good. At the end of the night, everybody's coming together. Actually, this is a photo of the block party from if you can see that or not, from last year. Just that good feeling of people coming together. It's definitely needed, and I don't know. I mean, we can't do much right now. I think there's something to the proximity of people being in a physical space, which I know we're trying to recreate it online. I think there's a need for that too, but I think people just want to be close to one another and sweat and be outside and dance, and they're looking forward to that.
That's the whole thing about it. Just being with your people and hugging, and I haven't seen you in a long time, and dapping and all that. That's the good thing that we will miss. You can't really recreate it, but when we talk about that music, Alan, we talk about how music has been a part of the movement, a part of our culture, and dancing in the park is just a form of release, and we really need that right now. So I guess it's kind of a double-edged sword because we really do need that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And house music specifically, and not just the music, but kind of the whole culture that surrounds house music is one that's about, sometimes it sounds trite, but it really is about, peace and love and, diversity and inclusion and people, house music has no racial lines or any other lines. And, so people miss that. I think part of the reason our event has been so successful is that we took something that literally started as a family reunion, if you will, and somehow 40,000 people later, we've managed to still maintain kind of that family reunion vibe. So it's the music is part of it, but for our event, people come because You see everyone you haven't seen from your sorority or fraternity, from college, from high school, from all of that. So that will be, of course, impossible to recreate this year. But the music as well is about positive messages and takes people back to more pleasant times in their lives. And so we're looking to hopefully sustain some people, at least musically, coming up this weekend.
Will there be like a running shout outs so that people can get some view? Because people want some kind of connection. They want to feel like they're there with you.
Yeah. We're working through some of that, but we will be like kicking it to some remote places where people are enjoying the festival. We'll have video of prior chosen few picnic events, so you kind of at least get a little bit of the feel like you're there with all your friends. And so we're doing that. We've got, we always have, whether it's celebrities or political figures or what have you, they've continued to be very supportive, and we'll have some shout outs and drop bys from a lot of people. And so we've really worked hard to try to come up with something that, to the extent we can come anywhere close to recreating the experience, we're certainly going to try on Saturday.
So guys, what's been the reaction from the people? I'll start off with the people who are scheduled to be involved, like your vendors, your performers, etc. But I also want to know about the people who come to enjoy and look forward to these festivals. Patrick, what's been the reaction as you had to let people know that this is going to be a different kind of year?
Well, first, many people expected that this should be canceled, and it's only proper that it should be canceled so that people in Chicago are at least safe. And we think and believe that if for the city to move forward, for Black people to really prosper, it's good to be in a safe environment. So it's understanding that they say we know you can't do it on site, but at least you're doing something. You are trying to make it happen to continue it for the future, and that's something that they appreciate because not just Chicagoans come to the festival, you come from, and hopefully they will connect with their friends and their friends and their friends, and like my colleagues are saying, it'll be a bigger audience than we can expect. So many of the people used to come a little bit disappointed, but they are hopeful that this will be something that they can enjoy.
You touched on it just a little bit, and I want to go explore that just a little deeper about the vendors and how will people be able to actually, I mean, maybe it's just selfish because I'm wondering about those those pieces of art and all the stuff that we look forward to. Once a year, you're going to get some good garments, you're going to get some good artwork, get some good stuff at this festival. How are we going to showcase that in this kind of environment?
The bulk of it will be online. We'll connect those with website and Facebook Live and stuff like that. It will be online. It will be online, but we'll also create rooms where some vendors will exist to actually engage the audience and showcase their work and bring the same kind of excitement. Okay, $200? No, I want to have 50. No,
I like that.
We hope we can bring some of that toward the event that will create the same feeling, the same experience that people know as part of the African Festival.
The bargaining and watching the
bargaining. And you talk about food. We will try to at least map out where the African restaurants are, where the diaspora restaurants are, and tell you what the menu is, connect to them. And so on that day, we'll be promoting everything that's Black in Chicago.
Yeah. Maybe cook some stuff and show us how to cook some things.
Right. Maybe have some recipe, let a chef show you what I have to do with chimbo jum, which is from Senegal, or cassava leaf from Liberia, or jerk chicken from Jamaica, and so on. So we are working on all of those elements, and hopefully it will come together and make it exciting.
That's nice. Well, now that I'm hungry, Ms. Darcel, what kind of, I know you say you're taking a pause to try to do the branding and the awareness in all these communities. What are you looking forward to? How are you going to, you can't compare it to what you hadn't done, but you had some plans in the works. How is this going to make it even better, you think?
I think it allows us to grow our social media following. Just within the last 3 months, we have had an increase in our community, shown by record that very diverse our community. Also, just getting out there and being more visible. And so again, as you stated, to push the brand, just to get the recognition, which we realized we had, but now we have even more recognition because of the disappointment of a first time event of this type occurring in the west suburbs. And so we have actually have been able to take advantage of the positive side of that as well. So just having more exposure and just using this platform today also has been very helpful as well. So we're just going to continue to market and get out there and work on other ways and avenues we could partner with other organizations as well to see as we continue to work in the community how we could show and demonstrate our community connection.
Well, we're glad to be of service, ma'am. Glad to be able. I want to. You had a good point that I want to touch on just a little bit more about the need. There are so many people in these communities that don't have the access to these cultural advantages, and that's one of the reasons that you were going to do this in the first place, right?
That is correct. Just as I stated earlier about hosting other events in the community, we found that there was a lack of different resources that's targeted towards minorities. Even if you look at it from the entertainment perspective, from the food restaurants that's offered. When I looked at the statistics on Naperville, for example, only about 5% is present there as far as minorities or African Americans, and about 5% Hispanic. I was very surprised by that statistics, but this year, given this a census, the U.S. Census is due, and so I'm hoping to see a rise in those numbers because from what I actually visually see and what I'm trying to establish in that community, I just want to make sure that those young professionals, those with families in these areas, are actually know that they are included in the community that's being built around them, and so that would include restaurants. And then I thought about how the community is dissected. Where are the black-owned businesses located? And so that became a very concerning statistic for me because out of 10,000 firms in Naperville, there's only about 1,000 minority-owned businesses. And so I wanted to figure out why is it that they're not going to these communities. And so that's why on a larger scale, hey, let's bring the businesses here to this community to see that you are welcome here. You are able to have a place of business in this untapped territory and you could be successful. And we wanted to provide that for those minorities businesses. And even when we look at the Bolingbrook and Aurora area, they have a higher population, but yet in those areas, they are more comparable to the statistics of the minorities in their community. So they are reflective, but Naperville lacks that.
Well, that's one good point. I'm glad you brought that up because it's something, frankly, I hadn't really thought about. The information and connecting these businesses and connecting people just to let people know that they are here.
Yeah.
This is a chance to do that. More so, we all think about the good times and getting together and enjoying each other's company and the music and the food, but it's more informational than anything else, I would imagine.
Yes, that is our goal, is to let them know that there are resources, there are grant programs in the city of Naperville. Going through the process along with my business partner, we have learned quite a bit about what is available that's not utilized. And so we definitely want to spread the word.
So it's good that we got you. You're just now starting, and we got the established festivals that are going. And I want to swing back to Alan for just a second to ask you this question: do you think, because of what's happened this summer, because of the way we're having to restructure these things, do you think our festivals and events will change forever in a different way because of this thing? Will we ever have those kind of festivals that we used to have?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think, quite frankly, it's going to probably depend on a vaccine to coronavirus. And to echo Patrick's comments, I mean, our audience was, um, totally cool with us going virtual. And I think, frankly, respected the fact that we made a responsible decision rather than trying to force something for, economic reasons or otherwise. So, I think some of the things that have been happening virtually, like the whole DJ business, has essentially gone virtual because that's all there is. I really think that is going to be here to stay. Hopefully, we'll eventually get back to clubs and these outdoor festivals, but I don't think that the virtual component is ever going to go away. I think we're probably permanently changed by this length of time doing these things in this fashion. So I'm hopeful, certainly, and it's our intention, of course, in July of 2021 to be back out there. But it remains to be seen. But we certainly hope, because it really is important to so many people to come together and fellowship and enjoy the music and each other's company. And so we feel blessed and honored that we have an event that has come to mean so much to so many people. So, I think, quite frankly, even if we were ready to shut it down, and sometimes I have my days when I'm ready to shut it down, um, we kind of feel like that we have a responsibility of almost, caretakers of something in society that has come to mean a fair amount to a number of people. So, we're going to do everything within our power to continue to produce it and hopefully get back to what we normally do outside.
We look forward to it. People got to have it. It's that connection that, like we said, that's a good word that we use. Basically, come from the church, that fellowship. We just got to do that, and that's what's really missing. Eric, I want to talk to you just 1 second, because you're back on the front lines in another whole way with your store back. How have you had to change your operation because of both the pandemic and the unrest?
You're on mute, Eric.
Fortunately, nothing happened to us, a few weeks ago. So our store was safe. We were actually doing a remodel, so we were closed anyway. So we have a whole brand new store for those of you who want to come by and shop.
Give that address real quick.
All right.
I'm sorry?
Give me your address real quick.
1506 East 53rd Street, heart of Hyde Park. So yeah,
I'll be by as soon as we get off, Eric.
I got like a pile of shirts waiting for you, man. I got like a whole pile set aside for you.
I know you do.
So I mean, it's mixed messages in some ways. National, the state, and the city with different guidelines. There, it's you have to kind of follow your own, your own idea of what safety is. I talked to the city, and they like use your best judgment, basically. So we're allowing only a certain amount of people in the store at a time. 6 feet apart. Everything is being cleaned, and people are, back to what Alan and Patrick said. People are very understanding. If they're disappointed, but they understand. So I've gotten tons of emails saying we wish we could come, but no, we'll wait till next year. As far as like the store goes, people having to wait outside a little bit or just kind of take precautions. People understand. I mean, everyone's wearing a mask. And I think that's one of the reasons why, as a state, we're doing a lot better than other states, because I think we've kind of followed the guidelines, and I think we've had better leadership that's been honest and open about what to do, and people have kind of followed that. So that actually translates to better business in the long run. And I think people are happy about that. Also, back to our festival, what Patrick was saying, we account for a few $1 million in impact. We have 100 vendors who make thousands of dollars. You have, your lighting guys, your sound guys, your generator people, stage people, all getting paid, So there's a lot of money in this ecosystem that's just not happening right now. So that's something that people don't think about, not just the festival promoters, but everybody else usually makes more money than we do sometimes, Right. That's missing. And I feel bad for the vendors who won't have a chance to make money this year. So, yeah.
Well, I'm really missing it looking at that picture behind you, though. That's right there. That is it. That's what we look forward to. Yeah. Patrick, I want to ask you one quick question. since we are not having it, does that mean I get to keep my title for a little longer? You know, so you don't have to give it to nobody else because
the Grand Baba
for another year. Is that right?
Uh, Once you are Baba or Yeye, that's for life. That's a life.
Thank you. I
And
thought I
this,
had to give it up.
and, and this year with the virtual event, we have
Patrick,
reached out to Quincy Jones, and he was open to doing it, but then at the last minute, he had a, 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 a his situation got to where he had to cancel everything for the rest of the year. So we are going to have a Grand Baba for this year as well. But once a Grand Baba, you're a Grand Baba forever.
thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. I want everybody to address me as such. I like that.
And make sure you wear that very well.
I will.
Grandfather.
Patrick, are you optimistic about the future of our events and of our communities as we spread this cultural awareness?
I think I said that earlier that the future looks brighter with all that's going on, the awareness, the support from all the different people around the world. And we have to do all the positive things to make sure that our business, our events, our people move within the light of betterness. We have to make sure that we teach the young ones that to live and live a better life means certain level of responsibilities. You can't be in a street corner and expect to be, of course, things can change, but you can't live in a street corner and expect to be president. There are certain steps you have to take. And I hope that with what's going on, some of that will bring to bear to the community that we can begin to change some of the negative things in the community. And with the business aspect, we want to open more doors. Black businesses, black artists, they don't have galleries. But the online situation hopefully will open the whole world to them and they can better their life and create a positive situation for their families and for their communities.
We can only hope. Everybody, I know we're going into big weekend, 4th of July weekend, warm weather. Everybody's kind of gearing up right now to see what happens. We're hoping for the best, but you know what happens a lot of times in the summer, a hot day, a weekend holiday. What can we do to address this? Anybody who want to jump in, what can we do to address the violence and address the, I don't know, the madness that's happening right now in our city?
Yeah, I think that's the $1 million question. If we had the answer to the crime piece of it, although I think part of the reason I was pleased to be part of this today is that Chicago and the South Side and West Sides in particular get a bad rap in my opinion, and most of the news focuses on the negative things that go on there. And I always tell people on a per capita basis, if you actually look at the city of Chicago, we're not even in the top 10 most violent cities in America. In some surveys, not even in the top 20. So unfortunately, there's this sensationalism of it. And not to get me wrong, I mean, we have a problem. I mean, kids are killing kids every weekend, but there are tremendous positive things going on the South Side and the West Side, and all of us in this discussion can attest to that and are proud to be a part of that. I agree with Eric that we do have good leadership in this state, at least on the COVID issue. You see a lot of these states that are backsliding and opening and reclosing, and so I think our leadership has done an admirable job. I wish I had the solution to kids shooting kids on the weekends and things that happen typically when the weather gets warmer. But I have some thoughts on that, but that's probably a broader discussion for another day.
We'll bring it back.
But I think the most important message is to have people's eyes open to the wonderful and positive and peaceful and nonviolent things that go on the South Side and the West Side and throughout this city. and that our problems are more an aberration than the norm in the communities that we live in. So we have to make sure we're vigilant in continuing to make that aware. And I thank you, Grandbaba, for this for this opportunity to do that very thing. Thank you.
We appreciate that too. And one thing we want to emphasize too, and highlight, underscore what you're saying, that these are always peaceful gatherings. Yeah. These are the things, like you say, a lot of people don't hear about this, but you have all these people and nothing goes wrong.
No, we put 40,000 people in a Jackson Park on the south side of Chicago every year, and knock on wood, we have literally not had a single incident of violence. We have not had a single security incident of any significance at all. And I think that's a testament to a few things. It's the music and the culture that surrounds house music. But more importantly, that's a more real representation of people who live on the South Side and the West Side. And that's who we are. And it's not, all due respect to ABC7 and all the other news channels, we're not what you see in the first 10 minutes of every newscast every weekend. So while we're figuring out how to solve that problem, we have to make sure the rest of the world understands that's not who we are, and that's not the norm.
This is the real Chicago, the Chicago that we present.
Absolutely.
And that's one thing that, to toot my own horn, that's what I do right now too. With my stories, it's Chicago Proud. We highlight the good things that are happening in our city and let people know that it's not like gloom and doom and crime and violence and all that. I would like for everybody, we're just rapidly running out of time, to go through and give us some final thoughts about what we're going through and how our festivals are handling the situation and our people right now. Some even words of encouragement to the festival goers who are event people that look forward to what you bring every year. We got Alan here. You want to give a little bit more?
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to music and enjoying that and getting together with friends, I mean, nobody can steal that from us. Nobody can take that joy. It might be a little different and not the same, but the healing power of music is legendary, and it has been since the beginning of time. And continue to lean on that during these difficult times. And we're honored to play a small part in contributing to that on this Saturday. So,
looking forward to that, Eric.
Sure. Just like what Alan said, I mean, we've had this event for the last 16 years and never a fight, never an argument. I mean, and I think, that's a testament to the music. I really believe that's a huge part of it. The family atmosphere of Chosen Few, the African Fest, people just coming together and, on a warm summer day and just having nothing happen is great. I would say that we have to make sure as a community that we support each other in these festivals, financially support. Yep. These are not cheap things to do. And, when African Fest asks for $20, man, go ahead and pay it $20. You know what I mean? Just to save up for the rest of the year. You know what I mean? We ask it because these stages are not free. These generations are not free. So to show up for an event is one thing, but to financial support is another. And Alan is doing this thing this weekend. Man, donate $5. That's nothing. $10 is nothing. So that would be my closing thing to say. We have to support with our dollars. And you can shop Silver Room, thesilverroom.com, shop online, shop in the store. We need this because we employ a lot of people who look like us. And this money has to circulate. So we have to make sure that we're always cognizant of that.
Thank you, sir. I like those words of wisdom. Hey, let's go to Patrick, because you've been talking about all your words are wise. I put that way.
Well, you mentioned the 4th of July and the weather, the hot weather. I would say it falls on all of us to look out and take care of our own and make sure our children are safe and make Chicago a safe holiday weekend. Let's enjoy the holiday. And then look into the future. I like and work with everybody here, and I hope we can continue to collaborate and support one another and invite Black people, not just to or support these events or support all Black events, like institutions like USABO and other things that are doing good work in the community. If we have a stable community, all of these events and institutions like have been mentioned, they are the one who support Black businesses. They're the one who create Black businesses. So we have to continue to support them and make sure that they survive. You're talking about generators. We spend over $60,000 on generators alone. Not talking about stage and all the other stuff. So these events are not cheap, and the institutions, for them to survive, they have to have financial support. I encourage all of the people who are Black or who like culture. And one more thing, just talking about where do we go from here? Everybody have said how these events are peaceful and nothing has happened. We 31 years old. We've been very blessed with most significant events. There's something in the culture. We have to take our people back to the Black culture, Black way of life, so that the children, instead of being disrespectful to parents and grandparents, they become respectful. And I can say one incident that happened at a festival. This young man, he PSP, came in, no shirt on, pants down to his knees. And when he looked around, he put his shirt back on, put his pants up. So the culture is powerful. We have to go back to that. And I pray and hope this weekend will be really a starting point for us to move forward with our culture.
Thank you very much, sir. We give the final word to the lady as we wrap up here.
Well, the word for today is collaboration, community support, community building, and just promoting minority efforts that is currently going on in the different communities across the Chicagoland. So again, I am very honored to be with this panel today, just seeing the history of the different festivals. So it was a great learning opportunity for me going into my first year. I am looking forward to next year and looking forward to this weekend and house music, just been listening to the wonderful music and opportunity to just fellowship, as we stated, with other community leaders. And so, again, just making sure we do things safely for our health and just also not having to choose between health and economics. We can have both. We can enjoy our summer the most creative way we can. So, again, I'm looking forward to working with you all in the future.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody. I know we run a little late. Eric, thank you so much for hanging with us. I know you had to go real quick.
Thank you.
You got to go. I know, my brother. Thank you for this. We appreciate you being with us. Best of luck on everything.
Thank you, Graham. Bye-bye.
So everybody, thank you. Thank you for being with us. And thank you for everybody for joining us here at ABC7. Do you hear me? We hope you hear us. We're here listening to you. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you as we continue to follow these issues on ABC7 Chicago. Take care, everybody. See you later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.